Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Alright, without further ado, let us dive straight into the recap of Tsukimichi, Moonlit Fantasy Part 19. The story begins with Makoto sitting calmly in the shrine's living room, enjoying a cup of warm tea served by a shrine maiden. This simple moment feels rather unusual for him, as it is rare for him to be invited so deeply into the private space of a shrine maiden. However, beneath that calm atmosphere lies a lingering sense of unease. Makoto does not want to waste time, so he directly asks who exactly ordered the shrine maiden to serve him. Her answer causes the mood to change drastically. The shrine maiden firmly states that the shrine and everything within it are a combined gift from the most powerful entities Makoto knows from his original world: Shiva, Daikokuten, Susanoo, and Athena. Hearing the names of such great gods spoken in a foreign land immediately puts Tomoe, Mio, and Shiki on full alert. Their gazes sharpen, as if every movement of the shrine maiden is now something to be watched carefully. Even so, Makoto does not sense any immediate danger from her presence, only a vague discomfort that he cannot clearly explain. To ease the tension, he subtly signals his followers to restrain themselves. The shrine maiden then politely asks Makoto to stop being so formal. She requests to be treated like an ordinary servant, equal to Tomoe and the others. However, this request only sparks anger in Mio and Tomoe. To them, someone who suddenly appears without properly introducing herself and then places herself on the same level as them is behaving with complete shamelessness. The situation grows even more tense when it becomes clear that the shrine maiden already knows all of their names, which convinces Tomoe even further that this is a carefully planned trap. Maintaining a calm tone, the shrine maiden explains that the gods provided her with basic information about them. She then reveals an identity far more complicated than anyone expected. She is not an ordinary human, nor is she merely a spiritual medium. She is a living tool, an artificial existence whose state is reset every time she gains a new master. She has no name because her identity always changes to match her owner. In short, she is an instrument created to make the lives of the gods more convenient. This explanation leaves everyone speechless, as she speaks of her tragic existence as if it is something completely normal. After hearing this, Makoto makes a surprising decision. He declares that he intends to become her master and form a ruler contract with her. The shrine maiden accepts calmly, only warning him to restrain his power during the contract process so that her body does not collapse. Hearing this, Makoto prepares to begin the contract. Suddenly, Tomoe stops him. She still does not trust the shrine maiden and wants to see her memories first. The shrine maiden doubts whether Tomoe can read the memories of something like herself, referring to her own existence as an object. Those words once again ignite Mio and Tomoe's irritation. They refuse to accept their master being served by something that calls itself an inanimate object. Sensing the rising tension, the shrine maiden changes the subject. She praises Makoto's courage, stating that despite being human, he dared to challenge the goddess and even declared his intention to face her someday. She also expresses her willingness to serve Makoto, even if it means standing against the gods themselves. Makoto then explains to his subordinates that he needs additional power, which is why he wants to take the shrine maiden as his follower. Although Tomoe understands the logic behind this decision, she still remains unconvinced. For her, it is difficult to accept someone whose memories she cannot read. Because of that, Tomoe asks Makoto to pose several questions about modern Japan. If the girl truly claims to be a shrine maiden from Japan, she should know such basic things. As it turns out, the girl answers every question with complete ease, without showing even the slightest hesitation. Seeing this, Makoto begins to believe that she is not lying and does not harbor any malicious intent. He then tries to calm his subordinates. Tomoe finally relaxes, but before fully accepting her, she proposes one final condition. The girl must fight Makoto with killing intent. Makoto is momentarily surprised, but Tomoe explains that she, Mio, and Shiki also faced Makoto in a battle of life and death before becoming his followers. According to Tomoe, this is an unwritten tradition that must be fulfilled. Makoto understands. Taking a deep breath, he invites the shrine maiden to move to a safer location to carry out the battle. In short, the fight between Makoto and the shrine maiden finally begins. and from the very first second, Makoto immediately senses an overwhelmingly strong killing aura coming from her. The girl moves at a speed that is nearly impossible for the human eye to follow, catching Makoto off guard for a moment. Even so, he blocks every attack using magic armor, allowing those rapid impacts to strike him without leaving a single wound. The Shrine Maiden appears impressed and introduces her name, Toda, right in the middle of the battle, as if greeting Makoto while running at an invisible speed. Makoto continues trying to track Toda's position as she moves like a shadow. Meanwhile, Tomoe, Mio, and Shiki, who are watching from a distance, are left utterly stunned by just how fast the girl is. Even Tomoe, who is usually overflowing with confidence, is forced to admit that Toda's speed truly defies reason. Toda praises Makoto's magic armor as a crazy defense, noting that she was never given any information about that ability. When she realizes that speed alone can no longer break through Makoto's defenses, Toda finally comes to a halt. She stands still, and from both of her hands appear shining whips that look like liquid metal. Those fiery whips lash out and strike Makoto's magic armor, delivering an impact that feels far heavier than before. Makoto immediately understands that Toda is deliberately revealing herself now. She has shifted to attacks that are genuinely serious. Meanwhile, Makoto's followers observe the battle with their own thoughts. Tomoe acknowledges Toda's abilities and judges that the girl would be an extremely valuable combat asset, especially if they truly intend to confront the goddess in the future. Mio, however, looks displeased. In her view, Toda is fighting as if she is testing Makoto, and that attitude makes Mio feel that the girl is looking down on her master. Shiki and Tomoe themselves are not overly concerned about that, but they agree that the battle should be stopped soon. They fear that Makoto might once again experience the pleasure of killing, like he did during the fight against Samal. At that time, Makoto even smiled while being filled with murderous intent, a sign that Tomoe believes could threaten her master's mental state. However, before they move to stop the fight, Mio stops both of them. In a relaxed tone, Mio explains that Tomoe has misunderstood. According to Mio, Makoto's smile this time is not because he is enjoying killing. On the contrary, Makoto is thinking intensely. He is smiling because he feels challenged, carefully searching for the most effective strategies and steps to overcome Toda. Back in the battlefield, Makoto begins to counterattack. Although many of his attacks miss due to Toda's speed, he manages to force the girl to leap into the air. Toda's clothing now appears torn in several places. Tomoe finally admits something she cannot deny. Toda is not just fast. She has mastered all elements of magic, is highly skilled with close-range weapons such as swords and spears, and possesses physical speed that is almost incomprehensible. It is no wonder that the girl is referred to as a tool of the gods. Not long after that, Shiki mutters that Makoto seems ready to end the fight. And just as he says that, Makoto begins to draw out his bow. As Makoto prepares his arrows, Toda suddenly panics. She tries to block the barrage of magic arrows with her flaming whips, but the speed and accuracy of Makoto's shots far exceed her expectations. Every arrow Makoto releases seems to precisely target the tiny gaps in Toda's defense. However, that volley of arrows turns out to be only the opening move. In the midst of the arrow assault, a pair of gigantic silver arms emerges from empty space, clamping down on Toda in midair like an invisible trap. The space around her becomes distorted, leaving her completely unable to move. Her speed and flow of magic are instantly sealed. Shiki and Tomoe admire Makoto's ingenuity, keeping Toda occupied with the rain of arrows, then absolutely locking down her freedom of movement. Standing on the ground with his bow already prepared, Makoto declares that the battle is over. However, Toda stubbornly insists that she can still continue fighting. Makoto reminds her that her stamina and power are already exhausted, but Toda continues to force herself onward. From the aura she emits, Makoto realizes that this girl possesses the battle instincts of a fanatic who will not stop until one side is completely defeated. In the end, Makoto releases his final shot. The arrows strike Toda in the shoulder and chest, sending her body crashing to the ground and leaving her unable to move. Breathing heavily, Toda admits her defeat and praises Makoto's strength without hesitation. She confesses that she never imagined a human could possess such power. Until now, Toda has been calling Makoto Goshujin-sama, a title that makes Makoto feel uncomfortable. Because of that, Makoto asks her to stop using that form of address. Toda obediently nods and instead calls him Makoto-sama, still respectful, but no longer as dramatic as before. After the battle ends, the atmosphere gradually returns to calm. Still feeling curious, Makoto then asks about a large tree near the shrine. He suspects that the tree is a cherry blossom tree, and Toda confirms this without hesitation. Upon hearing that answer, Makoto looks extremely pleased. He cannot even hide his expression as he imagines cherry blossom petals blooming and drifting in the wind. Toda then adds that she can actually make the tree bloom instantly if Makoto wishes. Hearing this, Makoto becomes immediately excited and already envisions a Hanami festival together with all the residents of Asora. Sometime later, Tomoe and Shiki arrive to tend to Toda's injuries, while Mio hands a towel to Makoto. As he gazes toward the magnificently standing shrine, Makoto feels a mixture of nostalgia and happiness. In Asora now stand a Shinto shrine, a Buddhist temple, and even a Parthenon-style shrine, along with cherry blossom trees and the prospect of a festival. All of it feels like fragments of his past suddenly returning to his life. It is no wonder that he smiles broadly upon seeing this incredible gift appear so unexpectedly. Several days after that, Asora undergoes a complete transformation. On a vast open field, the first Hanami festival in Asora takes place in lively fashion. A place that is usually quiet is now filled with laughter, singing, residents exchanging toasts, and the clinking of alcohol glasses. At first, many citizens feel hesitant, believing it is inappropriate to eat and drink near a shrine considered sacred. However, that hesitation gradually fades as they grow accustomed to the atmosphere. In the end, everyone immerses themselves in the warmth of the celebration beneath the falling cherry blossoms. After seeing the people of Asora growing more comfortable as they enjoy the festival, Makoto approaches Toda, who is chatting cheerfully with several others. They spend quite some time talking about the tradition of offering coins at shrines and the cultural differences between Japan and this world. After that, Toda begins to fully mingle with the rest of the residents. Makoto feels truly happy seeing the festival proceed so smoothly. The smiles on the faces of the people of Asora convince him that he wants to continue protecting this place. He does not want to leave Asora, at least not until the outside world becomes truly safe. Not long after that, Mio appears while dragging Shiki along, who looks completely drained, as if he has just been beaten senseless. Apparently, Shiki has just received punishment from Mio for being rude. To make matters worse, Mio, who is already slightly drunk, intends to throw Shiki into some random location as a lesson. Makoto hurriedly stops her and asks Mio to hand Shiki over to him. However, because her mind is clouded by alcohol, Mio misunderstands the situation and becomes jealous. She assumes that Shiki will sleep on Makoto's lap, even though Makoto never said anything of the sort. It is painfully obvious that alcohol has completely scrambled Mio's way of speaking and thinking. After the festival ends, Makoto begins to think seriously about recruiting a direct subordinate. It has been a very long time since he last added someone with a role on the same level as Tomoe, Mio, and Shiki. Now, his new candidate is Toda. After long consideration, Toda declares her willingness to become Makoto's subordinate completely. At last, the contract ceremony is carried out. The moment the process begins, Toda's body reacts immediately. Her hair turns a vivid green, her power increases dramatically, and the aura she emits changes completely. Toda herself is shocked. She never expected to receive such an enormous boost in strength. After the contract is completed, Makoto gives her a new name, Tamaki. The girl bows deeply at once as an expression of her gratitude. Sometime later, when Makoto is alone, he begins to reflect. He realizes that he has changed greatly compared to the Makoto who once lived in Japan. His way of thinking has become harsher, more cautious, and more prepared to face the dark side of this world. He acknowledges that the countless killings and the brutal reality of this world have had a strong influence on him. In addition to that, Makoto also notices that Tamaki possesses an extremely dangerous gaze, a pressuring, sharp look filled with the authority of a ruler. Makoto has never seen such a gaze in Asora before, and it makes him wary. Because of this, he decides not to allow Tamaki to roam freely outside of Asora. Tamaki has only one duty: to guard and protect Asora from within. In short, after finishing his business in Asora, Makoto goes to meet Rembrandt in Tsije. At Rembrandt's residence, Makoto makes a rather shocking request. He asks Rembrandt to teach him the dirty tricks commonly used by cunning merchants. Makoto's intention is not to apply all of them, but rather to understand the dark side of commerce so that he will no longer be an overly naive merchant. Rembrandt warns him that Makoto's mindset might change as he learns about that side of the world, but Makoto insists that he wants to know. In the end, Rembrandt agrees to teach him. Then, Rembrandt reveals a major secret. In this country, a revolutionary movement is growing and is now almost impossible to contain. Rembrandt predicts that the Great Revolution will erupt in the summer, more precisely, in about half a month. So, that is the recap of Part 19 from Tsukimichi, Moonlit Fantasy.